Welcome, everyone. We are here with Jean from Traceless and Connor from Phin. I am Mary, also from Phin, and we are going to talk about the vendor dating game. When you go to a trade show, it can be absolutely overwhelming as you walk the trade show floor sometimes, and Connor and Jean are going to kind of give us a guide into picking the best vendors for you to work with and, maybe some red flags to look out for and just how you can navigate those waters a little bit better. So I will pass it on to you guys.
Sweet. Jean, how are you doing on this wonderful Tuesday afternoon?
It's good to be here. I miss seeing you, man. It's interesting because we actually met on a vendor floor.
Yeah. Maybe we could tell that story. I mean, we could get to the vendor dating game, but we could tell that story if you want to. I see Tyler's in the chat. I see Zach. Zach told me he was going to be in the chat. If you all have questions that you want Jean to answer about me, let me know. Let us know. But do you want to tell the folks a little bit about yourself? Like, who is Jean?
Sure. Yeah, so thanks for having me today. My name is Gene Rich. I founded an MSP 21 years ago. That's called Point, and we're focused on delivering Apple managed services in Google Workspace, hardening and management for businesses, like many MSPs, right? But we have a different focus. And then 7 years ago, after finding some concerning vulnerabilities in my own MSP, I started Traceless with Peter. And a few years after that, I think I met you, Connor. How long has it been since Phin has been in existence? 6? 5?
Yeah. I think it'll be 6 this year since we met. We met at an IT Nation event right at the kickoff of COVID, which I believe is 2020, right?
Yeah.
6 years. So almost
Amazing.
6 years.
Great. Yeah. And I guess we met just being the vendors in the space at that conference that were probably a little bit on the outside of cultural norms.
I mean, well, you showed up in the patented tie-dye hoodie. I imagine you're head to toe tie-dye right now, just like you were on the conference floor. No?
Not head to toe, but the top half at least.
So for those of you who don't know Traceless or you've never met Jean or Peter, their branding is super cool. I think it's super cool. It's like this super interesting tie-dye colors, and they have tie-dye tracksuits that they wear to conferences when they sponsor them. And so I guess this kind of gets into the vendor dating game. It's like you want your vendors to be authentic. Like if you're not authentic or you don't believe your vendor can be authentic, I don't believe there's like any kind of foundation you can set for trust or for like working together productively. And me and my co-founder Josh, we wear these bright purple life jackets to this trade show, and we're surrounded by an ocean of like business cash and sport coats and wingtip shoes, polos, and like we're just looking like sore thumbs. And so me and Josh, who has this like giant, massive beard too, if anyone's met him, we're like looking around like, yeah, maybe we made like a big mistake. We don't belong in this industry. Like we don't look like anyone here. We don't relate. We're trying to have conversation, but then out of like the corner of my eye, I see these two dudes, Gene and Peter, pouring tequila shots into people's mouths as they pass by their booth in head to toe tie dye. And me and Josh are just staring at them like, all right, I don't know who they are, but those are our people. Like that's the energy we need. And then like over the course of the conference, we just hung out a bunch and then ended up becoming friends. So that's how it was the tie dye. The branding worked.
Totally. It was a very fond memory of that show, and we're having a good time. It was our first time sponsoring a show as well. So, but I had been in that vendor hall many years prior. And what's interesting about the way I tell my own like MSP story, it's like when we started, there was kind of like there were vendors, but it's not like it is today. The industry was kind of nascent 20 years ago. And now it's like crazy how many vendors are in the space. And with the advent of AI opportunity and rapid programming, code deployment, application development, I think it's basically like there's going to be a lot more vendors coming into the space over the next years. And the first year I went to IT Nation as an MSP, it's probably like 6 or 7 employees maybe. And I just stepped foot in the vendor hall, almost like a kid in the candy store, right? Like I just didn't know. It's like my family never let me have candy. And I like went in there, I was like, oh my God, like what's up with I need all these things, right? And then you get all excited, you go back, and then someone's like, hey, my printer's not working. An employee calls out, you're in the middle of a project as an MSP owner. And it's like, okay, I guess I have to do my job. The next year, I kind of recall, like, I feel like I left and I was like, well, now I've got tools to manage the tools I bought last year. It's like, it's a subset of tools, right? And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm just going to go hang out. I'm not going to buy anything this year. It's such a fun part of the conference, but I think it could be a little bit overwhelming. You've been going to shows since we met, right? So have you noticed any changes or gotten feedback about the vendors or just the community from your customers?
For sure. There is a way, there is a proper and an incorrect way to show up at a conference as a vendor that I guess we've kind of learned as a trial, like kind of trial by fire over the last couple of years. The first and foremost is, I'm not going to name names, but I'll just recount an experience that I had, like one of the first experiences I had that really separate, like, all right, I do not want to be associated with any company like this who's doing things like this at a conference because I don't believe that's in the best interest of the people we want to serve. So I go to this conference and we're at this after hours party and there's this vendor, this individual who's working at a vendor, and it wasn't this person's fault, right? They had a boss whose boss's boss told them, hey, we have to get 1,000 scans to make this worth it. And so I think like the first lesson I learned is when you convert people, right, the opportunity to work with other folks, in our case MSPs, into just numbers, you very quickly lose sight of why are you showing up to be at these conferences in the first place. You're there to essentially break bread, meet people, generate real relationships, not to get 1,000 scans and expect that to convert into opportunity at some point. So we're at this after hours event. Me and a bunch of my friends at the time, we're hanging out at this event as vendors. And this person who also works at a vendor comes up to us and like kind of like ducks under one of us to get into this circle that we had made because we were all talking with each other, and just starts like shamelessly scanning all of our badges. Like, and it's like 9 p.m. and all of us just stop talking and we're like, hey, great to meet you. Like, you want to take me to dinner first before you just enroll me in your 14 million touch CRM sequence here? Like, what's going on?
100%. Yeah.
Like, hey, do you know that we're vendors too? And like, we are definitely not anywhere close to a customer of yours. Like, we're not even in the same industry. And this individual's response was, I know, it doesn't matter to me. I have to get scans or I'm going to get fired. I was just like, ew. All right. Do you want me to like get like another 100 people over here? We can get your numbers up. Like, what do you want to do with this? I'll just, make a mail flow rule to just completely ignore everything I get from you guys forever. And I did that. But it was like one of my first like core foundational experiences was like, if we're actually going to generate relationships with people, it's not going to be through activities like that.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, like, one year I made a video of professional tag. Have you ever seen that, where people run around?
It was all the rage.
And I was like, oh, just like MSP vendors getting ready to scan badges, this year. I fully understand what you're saying. What about, so you were at a conference and you had 0 customers, basically.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think like trust in what somebody's trying to sell is a very important part in the vendor relationship. How do you feel like you were able to represent your own software company and your own capabilities as you've grown and, really dramatically improved your quality of your application, right?
I think when we first showed up, the only thing that we could offer was like an eagerness to help and a willingness to learn.
Mm-hmm.
We were literally at the time, it was just me, my co-founder Josh, and two other folks. Shout out EJ and Kurt. And all we had was essentially an idea. Like we had a rough collection of some feedback we'd gotten from some people. We had demoed what we had built, and a willingness to say, we have no idea what we're doing. We really want to help you. We really want to serve this community. Uh, Obviously, if you do that well, like everyone makes a ton of money and everyone goes home super happy. But like it was this willingness to sit down and admit, like, we have no idea what we're doing, but we know that we'll listen to you. Can you help us understand that? And two of the first folks that we actually did that with and ended up having a great relationship with are the founders of Perch. So Aaron, who is the founder of Roost, and Wes,
Mm-hmm.
who's now the founder of Empath as well. We literally
Yeah.
DM'd them on LinkedIn. We're like, we're two young dumb kids who have no idea what we're doing. We saw that you recently exited. You probably have money, which means you might give it to us. Would you like to talk? And it was like literally meeting them and just having enough humility to say, yeah, we know we want to build something. That's what we want to do. We know these people have told us that they have a problem. Can you help us like get from A to B? We have no idea how to do it. You guys do. And
Mm-hmm.
then extending that, their feedback was essentially like, you're just going to go to these conference. You're going to go to this conference, and they pulled out IT Nation. You're going to meet as many people as you can, and you're going to say exactly what you just said. Like, this is our idea. We don't really know what we're doing. We think that you could help us. Would you like to get on board? A lot of people are turned off at that. They're like, no, like my clients have expectations and I have expectations of the vendors, and I'm going to choose to serve them. And that's fine, right? As long as what you want is the transparency so that people can opt in or opt out of it. But then some are like, yeah, you guys are just crazy enough. You might make this work. So yeah, let's get in on this. Let's see what we can do together. So that was one of the first things we did, is just ask people for help that we didn't deserve, and a lot of people gave it to us.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like the opposite of like a very large software company. Doesn't have to be in the MSP space, but like it's like, hey, I'm Connor. Can it do this? It's like, oh yeah, supports. Just open a ticket. Yeah, it might get on the roadmap. It might get done, right? Instead, yeah, I think that's actually pretty appealing to a lot of MSPs that have probably feel disenfranchised with vendors not actually helping them achieve what their product should do from a community perspective. So I could understand from a tactical perspective that people do need things to work, but it's probably was refreshing to just hear somebody say like, yeah, well, what do you want? What do you want it to do? Or what, this is the topic. What's wrong? Or like, how can we be better? Do you feel like you still engage in that? Not to say that this is a promotion solely for Finn, but I just get perspective for everybody.
I think there's a healthy balance. There's a lot that people ask for that very quickly. It's like, we are never going to build that. That's not what we want to do. That's not in line with our goals. If you need something like that, now's the time to find a different provider. Um, so I think the answer is still yes. Like, we have a public feature request board. We don't build everything that gets put on there. We don't even build everything that gets a considerable amount of upvotes. But what we do is listen to that feedback, engage with the community, reach out and say, why did you put this up here? Why do you think it's so upvoted? Can we have 30 minutes next week to chat about why this is important with you? How do you imagine using this? And
Mm.
I'll liken it to like one of the most important things that, if you ever like listen to a relationship coach or any kind of like relationship therapy like that, is not that you do what the other person is asking, because that's sometimes not um, the right move. But what is always the right move is making sure that person feels heard, and not just that you listened, but that you understood. And if a person feels like you understand them and you both agree that something else, you're going to do something else instead, then it's like a mutual decision you guys arrived at because you were willing to sit down, listen, and then sometimes just parrot it back to them correctly and say, is this actually what you mean? Should we be doing this? So
What that's interesting, right? Feeling heard, right? And actually just making sure that you show understanding. Um,
I'll
What
give
do
you
you
an
think?
example that like an
Yeah,
MSP
go
would
ahead.
have. You'd mentioned like my printer's on fire, right? My printer doesn't work. And I know that that's like the pedantic, you wake up on a Monday morning, that's the issue you're dealing with as an MSP. It's like bottom of the barrel. But for your customer, that might be the difference between um, making money that day or not. Like if you can't
Mhm.
get out a quote that needs to be written on paper or whatever. Small businesses operate as like small businesses. So to your customer, they come to you and they have this incredibly painful problem that you now need to make your painful problem because they've hired you to run their IT, their infrastructure, and their cyber, and now their business can't operate in a certain way or do a critical thing because that has failed. And if your
Mm.
vendor's response is not to dive in and try to understand why is this such a big problem? How can we help you through this? Is there a temporary workaround that maybe we could work through together instead of building software? Even in the world of AI, where everything can get vibe code, it still takes an incredible amount of effort. Um, if your vendor's not willing to at least listen and try and understand that this is why this is such an important problem to me, you definitely have chosen the wrong partners to work with to help support your small businesses that you work with. I think that's what I mean by like understand is your customer saying their printer's broken is like a canonical example of something pedantic, but there are certain situations where it's like this is life or death for my business today,
Mhm.
and if your partners can't be willing to dive in and understand that, you've chosen the wrong ones. Not that they have to listen every time. Again, it's not about doing what you'd ask for every time, but it is definitely about understanding your business and the clients that you serve.
Do you think there's a good way for MSPs to evaluate why not to buy a product? I mean, I feel like you go to an event, everyone
Yeah.
gets that high of like, my life's going to be different now. And then, rubber hits the road, you come home, you got a job to do. Um, but boy, those salespeople sound interesting, right?
Salespeople are typically really good at their jobs. So selling is a thing. So it's like, this is what I recommend, regardless of if it's on a show floor or in a demo or you're just doing an evaluation. Have I recommend this to every single MSP, regardless of the software or the services you're trying to purchase. Have some kind of acceptance criteria. What do you actually need this to do? Why do you need it to do that? And then you rank the things that you need out of this specific software in like, if they don't have these features, I can't work with them. These are the things that I would really like to have. And then these are the things that I'll request that I don't expect anyone to have. So you kind of have three categories. And if you don't have like that North Star when you're in the middle of a conversation, evaluating a relationship or potentially creating a new one, you can just have a salesperson or have a sales process blow you whichever way the wind's going at that point in time. That's often not effective. Like you were an MSP owner. How many times would uh, would would somebody come back from a conference and be like, Gene, I have this new great thing. It's called MXAIDR, and we need to do it now. Like it's going to change our lives. And you're like, to go back to previous, hey man, we got 4 customers with broken printers. Like MA, whatever you just said, is not going to help fix those. Like, can you get on that? That's what they expect us to do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think it's pretty interesting to come back and adopt a new technology into your stack. I mean, how many times are you finding for Traceless? Most of the time, it's a new adoption, right? So we're like a new thing that people are looking to implement. Do you find with Phin? Do you find that it's something new, or are they replacing or standardizing? Because I feel like that's also from like, why do people buy, or why are you looking at vendors?
um, I found specifically with Finn, it's a lot of brand new. We're just such a young company, so there's a lot
Hmm.
of new surface area. For MSPs, at least the friends that I have in the industry that own MSPs, some of the most success they've had going to shows or procuring new software is they have the list of things that are currently going wrong with their current provider. And so that's like a super easy way to create that acceptance criteria I was telling you about, because you know exactly what you're looking for and you can shop for exactly that. So like I've had people come up to us at a trade show and they're like, there are 3 vendors here that my boss has said I could talk to. You guys are one of them because this is the problem we're having and this is what we're trying to fix. Can you help me? And sometimes the answer is nope. Sorry, we don't have that thing you asked for. So like, do you want a T-shirt? And like maybe we can connect at some other point. But if that's what you're looking for, like we can't help. Whereas the experience that most people are expecting to have is like, oh, of course we can solve all of your needs. Just give me your social security number, your bank account information, that little CVV code on the back of the card, and we could get you set up with everything. Our Rainbows and Unicorns plan, actually, which you only have to commit to 4 years at a time, it's going to solve all your problems. So not to like make super obtuse examples out of it, but
I think lock-in is a pretty, for more mature companies that have been in the space for a while, I feel like multi-year agreements is actually the presented option as opposed to paid monthly. Do you know any new vendors who come out and say, I mean, obviously like annual plans are welcome, but do you see people say like, yeah, 3 years, we don't know each other, good luck?
not so much anymore. I know it's very common in the enterprise space, but I guess this goes back to one of my questions. The key criteria you should use beyond price to evaluate vendors, I think one of those is contract structure. So term, invoicing cycles, and then also billable unit. Based on those 3 things, not the price that you'll pay for all those, but based on the answer to those 3, what is your billable unit? What are your contract structure? What is the term? You'll understand if a contract or if a relationship from the start is going to be structured to extract as much value as possible out of you, or to let you extract as much value as you want from the partner you've decided to work with. I actually have a bit of a controversial opinion here. I know a lot of partners that we've worked with and some that have evaluated us, they hate the idea of a contract, a single year, not multi-year. So let's just talk about a single year. They're like, well, if this doesn't work out in month 3, like I don't want to be chained to anything. And I think in order to get trust, you have to be willing to trust. And so there's this, like the reason 3-year agreements exist in the enterprise market is like, okay, the deployment of the software historically has been so complex that if you decide in month 6 that you want to pull the plug, we've invested thousands of hours of resources, maybe even coming on site to help train people and help install things, physical servers in the past even. And now all that's gone because we're still in the dip here before we can get up and to the right. So while I still think there's some sentiment of that needs to exist, but not nearly to the same level. So I always try to strike. We'll bill you monthly. We'll bill you based on how you consume. So like we're not just going to charge you for things and have waste, but there still should be some amount of commitment. We don't want to wake up after having invested all of these resources and like we lay it out at the beginning. Like this is the way we're willing to invest and learn your business and help support you. And then have you in month 4 decide, okay, well, somebody else gave me 15 cents off the billable unit here. So, I'm going to go with them. It's like, wait a second, I thought we were partners. Like we were willing to partner with you. We were willing to invest. So my controversial opinion is I think yearly agreements actually benefit the MSP in a lot of ways. If for nothing else in today's day and age with like incredible inflation and AI changing everything, lock in your price, lock in your unit, lock in your contract terms. And then ask if you can be responsible for extending them. Not that you and the partner have to agree that those terms get extended, but like if you have the option to extend those terms for 1 year, 1 more year, 2 more years, 3 more years at the end of the agreement, it's a huge sign that they're willing to bet that you're going to have a great time with them and you're going to extract an incredible amount of value.
Yeah, I think the counter to that is a lot of people being disenfranchised with being stuck into these commitments.
Yeah, I also I don't just hear that. Like I have friends who have been on the receiving end of that in like they wake up and $20,000 is gone out of their account. They're like, how am I making payroll today? What just happened? Like, and that's a really horrible situation. And that would definitely give me some PTSD. So I definitely understand it.
But how does somebody know? I mean, how do you go from being a stranger to a 3-year commit?
I don't know.
It's hard, right?
It is.
Like how many, we don't get this question from anybody, frankly. But it's a common question in the MSP space is like, can I speak to some of your other customers?
Yeah.
Providing references is almost a given for any MSP agreement, but basically never for buying software. I've never been really asked that, I don't think. Like maybe
Okay.
like, do you have other MSPs? Okay. Or do you have other healthcare companies, right?
I've been asked, I know we get asked regularly for references. We also focus a lot on case studies that, again, like we're not going to choose, we're not going to choose a quote that's like, Phin is the garbage. They're the worst people on the face of the planet. We hate their product. It's like, so there's obviously some selection bias here. But having customers that you can lean on and people who are in theory in your exact same position as an MSP, being willing to speak up and say, nope, these people treated me right. It's definitely a big sign that you have a good potential partnership or not.
What about trials? Tell me about, like, because I think a very common thing that's happened to us is we get a frantic call from an MSP. Typically, well, if it's under 20 employees, it's probably an owner, right? If it's 20 to 50, it's probably a titled person, right? If it's over 50, almost always it's a person in a department or a C-level, right? Oh my gosh, we need to implement this tomorrow. So important. So we scramble, do a demo. We see them sign up, but not implement. Email, call. Okay, just follow up. Hey, this was important to you. Crickets. And then potentially 6 months later, a year later, oh, hey, sorry, XYZ happened. I'm ready to adopt, the product. It's something I don't know. I mean, I certainly wouldn't in the sales cycle be like, well, this is going to take work to implement my product, right? But I think as an MSP, you have to be real with your time and ability to implement new tooling and processes within your business. What have you found when people start talking to you about implementation of your product, and how do you handle that? What are like good things from vendors, right?
I think if hardware doesn't need to be shipped on site, there should always be a trial, right? If there's no like, if there's nothing physical that needs to happen at a location, like obviously with like network and access points, like you're probably buying like Meraki or something like that anyway. Like a trusted brand to begin with that you don't need to trial. But if you're trying to work with a partner and they don't have a trial, you need to commit up front before you even understand if this will solve your needs exactly. That's a huge red flag in my mind. And going back to, you need to give a little to get a little. Like we have a free trial. We have a partner that signs up every year. It's actually, I love to see them. Every year they sign up for the 30 days. They train every single user for the entirety of the year. And then on the 29th day, they remove them all and they cancel their account. And it is the funniest thing to see. And like,
it's a lot of work, man.
every year they check it. Hey, just checking in. Like, we feel bad. Like, are we still able to do this? And it's like, yeah, you can actually. You're a bit of a joke. Like, it's a bit of a meme now at our company. We love to see you every year. Welcome back.
Every year for 30 days.
Yeah. And so like we have a 30, it's an example of like, there are always people that are going to be willing to break the rules, both on the MSP side and the vendor side. I think it's still like, don't let a few bad apples spoil the bunch. So always like you need to be able to see what you're getting before you commit long term, or at least if you sign an agreement, have like 30 to 60 days to say, nope, this is not what I want. And then for large agreements, this is something that blew my mind. MSPs don't have lawyers review any contracts that they signed with their partners sometimes, like their vendor partners. It's like, hey, you absolutely get a lawyer to spend $100 reviewing a contract where you might be liable for like $30,000 over the next 12 months. $100 well spent. Like, just make it happen.
Yeah, I think also there is going to be a moment where a company doesn't disclose that they're using a large language model or AI, right, to deliver their product. And even though you wouldn't think, oh, is the data that you have access to in our ticketing system being sent out to the public model? I think that that's also another gotcha where people, I mean, we've been asked this by banks at Traceless, right? So that's why it's on my radar of saying like, what's your AI policy as a vendor? And it's like, good question, right? Or do you have AI in your product? Is it used to run the product? Because they're concerned about what happens when the data moves between your product and a public model, right? And I think that I mean, do you guys use terms of service and privacy policy? Is it on your website, or do you guys do one off?
No, we have a privacy policy in terms of service on our the policies on our website. Terms of service are part of the agreement you take a look at when you come on board.
Okay, yeah, great. Yeah, it's in the MSP side, we actually asked a vendor to change their privacy policy, and it took them a minute, but they did. And it was kind of like, hey, look, like your privacy policy kind of doesn't really match what you're marketing me from a security perspective. And I think that that's like not an uncommon thing where as a startup, you have a lawyer who looks out for your best interest that might not understand that doesn't look good, or they just are like, yeah, we just want to be as beneficial to the brand as possible, right? Take as little risk. But that risk then gets put on the MSP shoulders.
Yeah. Well, good on that partner for changing it eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it took time, right? But I'm like, I also understand that it's hard to ask these things of vendors, and it takes time, right?
I found that specific line of questioning super interesting. The are you feeding my information to AI? And if you removed AI and said, are you giving my information, maybe it's proprietary, but it's definitely sensitive internal information to other companies that you leverage? The answer, since software was created, was yes.
Yes.
like Google, to use Microsoft.
AWS.
Microsoft has it. AWS. If you're an MSP and you're offering email security, whatever provider you've decided, and everyone in the chain of providing that email security also has access to all of that. Now, whether or not they store it off-site, like that's a whole separate question, or whether or not they actually ingest everything and keep a copy, very different question. But in today's day and age, having access, like we just went through a SOC 2 process, if you have access, you have to assume that you have it. Like it's, oh, we have access, but we don't use it. It's like, yeah, we don't trust you. And nor can we afford to trust you in this scenario. You either don't have access or you do. It's a binary outcome. So if you remove AI from it, it's like, well, this is something we've been inherently comfortable with at some level as like a society for like a decade at the very least, maybe even 2 decades. And now I just find it interesting that now it's like AI, it might just be such a big industry with such sweeping potential harm and potential benefit that maybe that's pushed like the Overton window on who has access to my stuff a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you the good question I have, do you think that SOC 2 is kind of like table stakes now?
It's absolutely table stakes, but it's still just a rubber stamp.
Right. Right.
Absolutely table stakes. Like, yeah, 100%. We just went through it. I actually read a funny tweet about Delve. Have you been reading any of that?
I forget tell the story because I can't remember exactly where it lands.
Delve was a startup that promised that you could get SOC 2 certified within like 30 days. And for anyone who has even started a SOC 2 process or evaluated going through one, you know that on its face, that's just so impossible by definition that clearly you're getting lied to. Like you have to be there. You cannot. There is for those of you who don't know, essentially there is a mandatory observation period that can be as short as I think it's like 3 months and can be as long as a year if you're really screwing things up. So to say that you could do things inside of a month is just flat out a lie. It is impossible. So the startup, they promised that you could do all these things, and I saw a bunch of tweets. This was several months ago at this point, where like startup founders. We're like, yeah, like I almost fired my security guy because I see that for like $2,000 in 30 days, we can get a SOC 2 through these guys. And my security guy's like, oh, this is going to be $100,000. This is going to be 12 months. We're going to need you to get on some calls with us. We're going to tabletop some stuff. Yeah. We have to create some SOPs. He's like, I'm just getting lied to. Like I'm in the machine now, just getting, they're just pulling dollars out of me to get the SOC 2 certification. Turns out that yeah, everything that we expected was true, and that company's in a world of hurt right now as a result. But I saw that, and SOC 2 is a set. SOC 2 just means you are following exactly what you claim to follow. It's like
Yeah.
that's
Do
the
you do you
simple way to put it.
feel with vendors, like if it sounds too good to be true, that potentially it is? Is that reasonable?
It's reasonable. I think it's very reasonable.
What about that one time you tried to buy routers from an R&B artist? You want to share that story? Just joking.
I was like, oh, when did I buy routers? Did I? At what conference did we get together and make that happen? I did just buy a Ubiquity device for my home. I'm never buying anything but Ubiquity ever again. That is how good of an
Yeah,
experience I've had.
agreed. Yeah, they took the Apple experience with they did the gap play, right, where it's like 80% lower costs, or whatever, 20% of the cost for 80% of the value, right?
Yeah,
But I don't feel like there's a value loss with their products. I feel like the experience has been great and the product has been very performant.
yeah. I don't know what it's like on the commercial side. I only know it for like my residential problem that I had, but it's been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing just to bring up on the MSP side. That product's amazing, but their distributor relationship is pretty tough, right? So getting accurate quotes and reselling that product as an MSP is very difficult. Um, are you guys, do you feel like MSPs need to be buying through Paxate or other marketplaces? Like, I feel like some vendors great, some vendors don't care. I've had good experiences direct as well.
Um, I don't think you need to necessarily, but I will say this: one thing that a lot of MSPs already have a feel for, and that I've been able to kind of get a feel for after doing this for 6 years, is there is a huge difference in a company that is built for partners. Not only is the platform, but is the relationship going to be structured in a way that's beneficial to them, and then a company that's enterprise focused with a partner program on the side. And for that second style of company, working with a very large distributor who purchases, I'll just use Paxate as your example. Majority, over 80% of the people of the MSPs that I'm friends with get their Microsoft licensing through Paxate. Why do they do that? Well, because it benefits them to do so. They're able to get better pricing on their Microsoft licenses because Paxate purchases as this massive block and then gives the licenses after some markup to their MSP. So I think there are scenarios where it like absolutely benefits the MSP. You just need
Mhm.
to know: are you in relationship? Are you creating relationship with a partner or an enterprise focused player that has a partner program? Because the way you get treated and the way you can expect to procure software and then even get help is just going to be vastly different between the two.
Yeah, I guess that's another thing, right? Like support between resellers can be challenging at times, right? So if an MSP buys a product, how do they actually get support? Who's doing that support?
I, you made a joke earlier that was it's like, oh, submit a support ticket. I actually think that's always the responsible thing to do. Like you're you should have ways in which people can communicate with you outside of a support channel, like a Slack channel, a Discord channel is what a lot of people have, or even on like your company's social media profiles. But it's like, hey, if this is a problem, this is what I always say to partners of ours. Like, if this is a problem for you, I'll do the work. I'll meet with you. I'll submit the support ticket. I'll gather all the evidence because I can get into your account too with your permission. I'll do all that work. But if you want this handled professionally, you want to make sure nobody drops the ball here. It's like it needs to go into support. And if it doesn't, if you just leave this in uh, Signal group chats and Slack channels and Discord groups, it's like there's a very good chance you're not going to get the quality of service you need because, again, it's not a place that's monitored for that level of excellence. So I, I
That's a
always
good
ask
point.
people to submit support requests.
Just have a record.
Yeah.
So Connor, we talked about events, we talked about pricing, not being able to provide a product, but be able to provide integrity to who you are and what you do, which I thought was interesting. buying, distribution, support. Did we miss anything? I think we're coming around time here.
I don't know. I could say something about the company's branding. People, I don't know. I very much like our brand. I'm definitely not biased. I very much like your branding. Again, definitely not biased. No, I honestly think that's everything. The number one thing I hope people take from this conversation, whether you're listening to it live or in the future, is have that acceptance criteria. Have like, what are the things that you actually need from the partner? And if you don't show up with that, salespeople are really good at their jobs. You could potentially get talked into again, whichever way the wind's blown. And so that's the thing that I would suggest is if you come prepared like that, it's very difficult for you to fall into the negative examples that we all brought up today after being in this industry for a bit.
Yeah, I think that's also kind of my takeaway is like find your people, right?
There's definitely a lot of that. Peer groups. I've only ever had like a professional career, a career in the MSP industry. So I'm going to ask you this, Gene. Are peer groups a very common thing outside of the MSP industry, or is it just unique to MSPs?
Yeah, I think, by the way, Peter just poked his head and he left before I could bring him on the stage here.
Oh, I would have loved to say hi to Peter.
Yeah. I think in any business, there are a lot of other peer groups and organizations. I think there's also like, entrepreneur, like EO, right?
Yeah.
Entrepreneur organization. They support a lot of different types of businesses, right? So it's kind of like not always vertically specific, even though I'm sure they break off into verticals. There's also EOS. I'm sure EOS has some, like our EOS coach had about 20 customers and a few were MSPs, but he was also doing stuff. So I think that's another kind of like tangent of a peer group is like having an implementer for a construct of how to optimize your business. But I do believe there are communities in other sectors.
I'm a big proponent of iron sharpens iron. Get into a room with like-minded folks like yourself. They don't need to be like in your same industry or doing the same thing, but they just need to be on the same mission, hold the same values, want to improve in the way that you want to improve. And I know that peer groups are a great way to do that, and MSPs leverage them very, very much. So,
oh yeah. So Connor, if people want to find you or Phin, how do we do that?
LinkedIn, YouTube. I don't know. Amanda knows if we have a Twitter or not. You can find me on LinkedIn, Connor Swann, spelled like the name that's right there. And you can find us on LinkedIn as well, where we try to post some relatable things. It's more than just AI generated corporate slop. Amanda would hate herself if that's all she did. To those of you, I could see Amanda because she's backstage right now, and now she's smiling. But Amanda runs all of our social media and our brand. So
yeah, I actually found Connor on your support chat.
Yes. So if you go to our website and you talk to Phineas, he'll pop up in the bottom right-hand side of your screen. You'll either get me or you'll get Tyler. But if you get Tyler, I'm always there. I have it set up to go to my Slack, and I'm jumping in. If he's 30 seconds late, I'm in there.
So it's pretty easy. Let me speak to the owner. You're right to you.
Yeah, now I got to pick up my phone. It's like somebody's probably already trying.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want to give out your cell phone for printer ticket support and Phin tier 1?
I've done that. I've done that in certain situations. If you're an MSP, I recommend this. Actually, this is my number one piece of advice. Get a Google Voice number so you don't give out your personal cell phone number.
Oh, right. Because, there are people who put together lists and find all the info, and then you just get called by everybody who didn't scan your badge.
Yep. And for like a Google Voice could be very integrated into your own workflows. You can text from your browser. You can respond to voicemails from your browser. Not only all that, but when I was a property manager before I started Phin, the thing that like just increased my cortisol, that gave me so much stress, was when I'd get 3 or 4 a.m. calls from owners, because I'd given them my phone number to call me. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it was for dumb stuff. So, for stuff that wasn't an emergency. So what I would say is get a Google Voice number. Don't give out your personal cell phone number. Reserve that for families. And then whether you're talking with your vendor partners or whether you're going to a conference, use that.
Use that. Good. Well, for those of you who would like to connect, you can find me also on LinkedIn, website traceless.com. And of course, we have a presence on LinkedIn as well. So
sweet. Any last advice for the folks here, Gene? Or Mary? Did we miss anything?
Yeah. Also, like I'm kind of a vendor nerd. So if you want to get in touch about a product you're looking at or anything, it's like I feel like something else that's in the MSP space is people helping each other. And I think that goes beyond like a formal peer group. So, go ahead and reach out. Got any questions?
Awesome. Did we miss anything?
It all. Did a great job. Really good information for everybody out there. I think that one of the things I learned about joining Phin is just treat people the way you want to be treated, and everything should work out just fine.
Put your shopping carts away.
Put your shopping carts away. Put your shopping cart away, and I see you. You already qualify for an interview.
Yeah, I'm going to be asking you to apply. It's like that Uncle Sam poster. It's like, we want you.
We want you.
Yeah.
You got to do the finger, So, well, thank you. Thank you, Gene. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, everybody who joined us. And y'all have a wonderful Tuesday.
Awesome.